Social media troon activists clearly have not learned their lesson after Hogwarts Legacy and them calling for boycott for that because of J.K. Rowling, wanting female spaces like the bathroom to be safe and to have no wieners present, as well as women competing in sports to, actually be able to compete against other women. So because of that, the troon activists have lost their minds. And I've covered this so many times before Hogwarts Legacy came out, but that turned out to be such a massive success. And I think a huge part of that is because of the activists who brought a lot more attention to it. And if you tell somebody, hey, you can't do this, you can't play this game, what is that going to make people want to do? It's going to make them want to play it. Because ain't nobody going to tell anybody else what to do. And I think that there's certain cases when there are boycotts and things of that nature that people want to do, like Bud Light, for example, being one case. But the difference here is when somebody calls for a boycott or they just say something along the lines of, I'm not supporting this, okay? And this is something I try to keep in mind on my channel as well, as whenever I talk about not supporting something, I'll just say, hey, I'm not supporting it. You do what you want to do type thing. So there's a stark difference between that and the people who will say, don't play Hogwarts Legacy or you are a bigot type thing, to where they try to ruin your life just because you play it. So in this case now, there's a boycott after the new HBO Max reboot of Harry Potter that's happening because J.K. Rowling is a part of that. So let's go ahead and dive into this article and then I'll share some more of my opinions. I mean, quite frankly, I don't think that a reboot needed to happen. I don't think any of this needed to happen, but I do think it is hilarious to see the meltdowns. But let's go ahead and continue. This is coming to us from Bounding Into Comics, or an amazing publication. They said here, Twitter activists call for boycott of new Harry Potter Max series. We don't want to give that turf J.K. Rowling any more money, they said. Like that's going to make that much of a difference, as rich as she is. as Nerdrotic put it, he said J.K. Rowling is the George Lucas of women. I loved that. I was like, the best description of her. But now she's already rolling in the dough. You, like, anybody boycotting this to try to keep her from getting money, it's not hurting her. But go off, I guess. All right, so following the recent announcement that Warner Brothers Discovery will be producing a new and faithful television adaptation of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, fans everywhere rejoiced at the possibility of seeing the boy wizard's full story recounted on the small screen. One thing I'm curious about is if this is going to go woke to some degree, because let's not forget about, I think a lot of us like J.K. Rowling. I do, for example. But let's be real with what's going on and what has went on with her. She has retconned stuff. She has said, oh yeah, Hermione, she's black. That's how I intended her to be, despite them actually having descriptions of the character with fair skin, if I remember correctly. I'm not a huge Harry Potter buff, so feel free to correct anything I may have wrong in the comments below. But there's that, and then also the Dumbledore is gay thing, to where it wasn't really indicative in the books, but then she later kind of retcon that, oh yeah, that's how I always meant it, which I'm not buying it. But it wouldn't surprise me if this did go somewhat woke, at least, and they do some race swaps, or they do, the whole, let's emphasize Dumbledore being gay type thing. That wouldn't even surprise me. And what's funny about it is that the activists aren't even going to watch it anyway. So why are you trying to appeal to the woke people? So I don't know. I hope that they just stay faithful with how the actual books were written. And like they are saying they're going to do here, please just don't bog it down with woke stuff, because then you're not going to have any audience who wants to watch it. Because at this point, look at Hogwarts Legacy. reportedly sold 256% over Target. Now, let's bear in mind that Target sales are usually pretty high. A lot of even successful games don't reach Target. Look at Tomb Raider 2013. The reboot, that was the best-selling Tomb Raider game of all time, and it still didn't reach Target. Okay, so it sold a crap ton of units. So usually they had their expectations very high. So for this to sell that monumentally over Target really says a lot. So again, the Troon activist really did a lot of work there promoting the game. All right, so let's continue. After all, for decades, the series has been a gateway for many into the magical world of reading. And while the cinematic interpretations of Rowling's story were enjoyable and well produced, they barely scratched the surface of the wizarding world. I only watched 2 Harry Potter movies. I kind of want to do just a marathon and watch them all just for kicks and giggles. Because why not? All right, so, but just like with Hogwarts Legacy, transgender activists did not share the same sentiment as actual Harry Potter fans. As soon as WBD announced that the upcoming Rowling produced Max series was in production, the activists called for a mass boycott of the upcoming transphobic series. You know, like I said before, while I don't think this is necessary, okay, I can see, I mean, okay, also this is a TV series, not a movie series, which, you know, that could also be different, but also a lot of the cast of the Harry Potter movies had already turned on J.K. Rowling, and let's be real, if they weren't in Harry Potter, I don't think they would have even a modicum of fame as they have reached. It's what really propelled them. All right, so let's continue here. Just a friendly reminder that J.K. Rowling is basically the leader of the transgenocide campaign. I just can't right now. Okay. What has she said that is called for genocide of transgender people? I don't know. Last I checked, the genocide of transgender people was self-brought on. You know, people are not wanting trans people to unalive, okay? Trust me. As much as I don't even agree with it, being as I'm a Christian, and I think it goes against God's design, and I think, you know, I know the Bible says it's an abomination, and so I do not agree with it, but goodness, of course I don't want to see them unaliving. Most 99.9999% of everybody doesn't want that, okay? Except for psychopaths or people who just get joy out of people's pain, which is wrong. All right, so let's continue. But sure, enjoy your precious Harry Potter at the expense of trans lives. Thanks, HBO Max, for showing your true effing colors. Okay, and like, let's just do a quick count here. How many trans lives were lost because of Hogwarts Legacy? 0, okay? This is not going to unalive trans people. This hyperbolic, overdramatic type stuff, that these things that people say that is just so overdramatic, it just shows how much they try to manipulate people. All these activists who are like on the woke side, they try to manipulate people, and they will use speech that is so exaggerated and so untrue just to do that. And it really shows a lot of their intentions and how, oh, okay, we just care about people, or we're just tolerant, and so on and so forth. That is not the case. It's about control for them. And for them to go off on this ridiculous, exaggerated hyperbole here, it just really shows that it's about control more than anything. They want to control every facet of your life, what sort of entertainment you consume, and so on and so forth. I mean, come on, man. This is just such a far cry from we just want to live our lives, okay? And then here's another tweet that says, I really hope people actually boycott HBO Max over this stupid effing Harry Potter show. No one asked for that. And we sure as F don't want to give that turf J.K. Rowling any more money. Cancel your account and give that money to a trans organization instead. And then it looks like, oh, and of course it's a they them. That is another thing, okay? Don't even, they, them is all entirely made up. That does not even fall under the umbrella of the very minute, minuscule amount of people who actually suffer from dysphoria, which is a mental condition. That is such a tiny, 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 tiny amount of people. The majority of these Twitter activists that you are going to see are doing it for attention. It's not actual dysphoria for the majority of them, especially a they them made up thing. All right. And for those of you who don't see why this is an issue or don't want to miss your shows that are currently on there, F you too. Okay. All right, go off, I guess. Then it says, true to form, some even accused anyone who would engage with the series, either as a viewer, a crew member, or an actor in its cast, of automatically supporting Rowling's views. J.K. Rowling is executive producer. She will directly benefit. Okay, and they think writing this 3 times just does something. You support right of trans people to exist. You do not touch this, period. How is watching Harry Potter stopping trans people from existing? How is J.K. Rowling speaking out for women's rights and for women's safety? How is that stopping trans people from existing? I'll wait. All right, so then we have this Sophia tweet here. This, J.K. Rowling is a transphobe who's actively making people's lives worse and is proud of doing so. If you're a cast or crew member on this show, you're guilty, period. Even the kids. No, you're really gonna come for kids now? I can't believe somebody actually tweeted this. Even the kids are your enemy? Good freaking grief, bro. I'm just trying to think of any equivalent to where I would ever blame a child for something like that. Obviously, I think this is retarded, but let's say it was something else. Let's say that some kid was a part of some demonic show that was directly made by the Church of Satan or something. I would never, at any capacity, let's say they just were calling for the genocide of Christians even. I would never blame a child who was a part of that. They're children. Wow. It just shows. Wow. That just speaks volumes. Okay. Let's keep going. Those who will play in the new Harry Potter series working with J.K. Rowling will be making a choice, a stand against trans people all over the world. Now, if Hogwarts Legacy taught people anything, don't bend the knee for freaking such a very tiny portion of society, especially since most of these activists, most of these they, thems, they don't have jobs, they don't have money. It's degeneracy, okay? It is pure degeneracy, all right? It's just what it is, especially like on the whole activist front, the they, them thing. I do think, and like I've said in other videos before, I do think that some of it is demonic oppression, and I think that, you know, some people are actually struggling because of that, and a mental condition. So, yeah, that's sad for them, and I would hope that they can get better and that they can recover from such thing, get deliverance, and also just recover mentally. That's what I would hope for anybody who is actually going through this, because not every single transgender person is just some degenerate, kinky person who's just wanting attention or just wanting to make their kinks out in the open because they're just weirdos. But that definitely is a portion of them, because the entire movement has been hijacked by a bunch of attention-seeking people who have never suffered from gender dysphoria in their life, okay? That's what a lot of the really vocal ones are. If you look at other people like Buck Angel, or even Blair White, they are self-aware of what's going on. I have a friend named Sarah, an online friend named Sarah, who is transgender, fully aware that, okay, They will say, Sarah says themselves, I am not a woman. Okay, they know of people who are actually suffering with dysphoria, Buck Angel, Blair White, so on and so forth, and other people. They know full well they are not actually the opposite gender that they were born. They know full well that the parts they're working with, the chromosomes that are they're accurate. They just live their life that way because they suffer from dysphoria, a mental condition. And so there's a big stark difference between that and these degenerates. Okay, so let me just clarify that. All right, so let's continue. If you know someone who is excited about this, now's the perfect time to stop knowing them. Okay. Wow. Many activists even took to spreading the false conspiracy theory that the series was only being rebooted so that Rowling could replace the previous film's trio of core actors. Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson, all whom have voiced opinions on transgender individuals contrary to the authors in the cultural zeitgeist, with actors who held her same beliefs. Let's get a timeline here, okay? Daniel Radcliffe starts working with the Trevor Project to let trans stories be heard. Rowling enters the talks for a Harry Potter reboot. What's on the screen is an attempt to distance Harry from Daniel Radcliffe because he supports trans rights. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's see this week. So, the only reason we're getting a Harry Potter reboot is so J.K. Rowling can try to find a golden trio that agrees with her transphobic view. Blah, blah, blah. All because the stars of Harry Potter don't hate trans people. the hyperboles here, right? So if you disagree with anything or you establish some sort of boundaries and you're a transphobe, let's call this what it is. Every single one of these people here are misogynists. I hate throwing that word around, but it is exactly what it is, because if you're going to give a woman a hard time for wanting female spaces to be free and safe from wieners, you might be a misogynist. That's just how it is. So anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited for this Harry Potter TV series? Do you think it's unnecessary? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.